The views and opinions expressed by the speaker, host, commentator, or other third party in Ariva webinars, e-learning events, and/or virtual masterclass are those of the speaker, host, commentator, or third party and do not necessarily reflect and represent the views and opinions of Ariva. Furthermore, Ariva does not warrant, express, or imply the merchantability and fitness for a particular purpose of any product information, service, or process presented by the speaker, host, commentator, or third party, and Ariva specifically disclaims any legal liability or responsibility for the accuracy, completeness, or usefulness of any product information, service, or process presented. Finally, material or information presentation, opinion, process, or service by on any trade name, trademark, manufacturer, or otherwise during Ariva webinars, e-learning events, and/or virtual masterclass do not constitute or imply Ariva's endorsement or recommendation of such opinion, process, service, item, or organization.
Wonderful Wednesday to everyone. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our e-learning session powered by Ariva Academy. My name is Irish Malonda Sampson, and I will be with you this morning. So to be your host and moderator. So welcome to our retention strategies amid the Great Resignation. How to retain your best performing employees webinar. And I know you're all excited to meet our speaker, but before that, please adhere to the following house rules in order for us to have a smooth flow of our webinar, okay? Ariva is committed to protecting your privacy, hence stricter security of this webinar has been implemented. For better viewing of your Zoom experience, we encourage you to please update your Zoom application by visiting their website, zoom.us/download. And reminder to our participants that will be using mobile phones during the webinar, please go to Google Play Store for Android users and Apple Store for iPhone users to install the Zoom app. Okay, I know some of you, this is their first time attending an Ariva webinar, so please do type hi in the chat box right now. Let us know where you're watching right now. And for those of you who have attended several Ariva webinars already, please type in hello. Hello, Miss Cynthia, Nora. Let us know where you're watching right now as well. Hi, Catherine. We have someone from Cavite. LJ is from Makati. Good morning, everyone. I hope all of you are well. Hi from QC. Okay, Leonardo, Imelda, good morning. We have lots of participants today. Thank you for being with us. Okay, let's do an audio check. Please type in 111 in the chat box. If you can hear me loud and clear, I am audible. I am coming across clearly 111 in the chat box right now. Thank you so much. Thank you, Francis, Lenny, Manuel, Angelica. Thank you so much. 222 in the chat box if you cannot hear me. No sound at all. 2121 breaking up or logging. You might want to check your internet connection and question mark if you don't understand anything. Okay, so far, as per checking with the chat box, it's 111. Salamat po. And of course, we will be having a 5-minute break in between the presentation of our speaker later. And please do watch out for that because we have in store a quick icebreaker for you. Okay, for the Q&A guidelines, participants' microphones will be temporarily disabled by the administrator during discussion to avoid interruptions. For questions and clarifications during the provided time after each topic, please click the raise hand button. Wait for me to acknowledge your name, and then you can unmute your audio and ask your questions live. Type in your questions at the chat box. Kung medyo mahihain naman po, one question at a time will be entertained. And of course, an e-certificate of attendance will be awarded to our participants who successfully complete the entire virtual masterclass. Online certificates will be available 3 to 5 days after our e-learning session. Please scan this QR code. This will be directed to our feedback form. Please send us your comments, suggestions, suggested topics to discuss in order for us to improve our future e-learning sessions and webinars. And don't worry, guys, because later before we end our session, we will post the link in the chat box para po ma-access ninyo ang ating feedback form. Okay? So, to discuss retention strategies amid the Great Resignation, how to retain your best performing employees, I will be now introducing our speaker. Our speaker is a multi-awarded executive with more than 20 years of progressive leadership and management experience in the BPO, shared services, and IT industries. Has rigid training and exposure in recruitment and sourcing, re-engineering, employee relations, labor relations, OD, manpower training and development, skills gap analysis, training policy formulation, competency profiling, performance management, and employee relations. He is a certified human resource professional or CHRP and a certified professional manager. It is my honor to introduce to you the founder and the president of the Philippine HR Group, Coach Darwin Rivers. Everyone, a round of applause, please. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Irish. Good morning to each and everyone who has joined us today for another learning activity.
Yes, we have lots of participants today. Okay, you may now share your slides.
Okay, sure. Let me just start. Let me just share my screen. Just give me a few seconds.
While you're doing that, Coach Darwin, I would like our participants, of course, to please enable their cameras right now. We would love to see you. Ayan, good morning, Ms. Marikit. What about the others? There you go.
Okay, can you see my screen, Irish?
Yes.
Okay, good. So hi everyone, good morning. My name is Coach Darwin Rivers. I'm the president and founder of the Philippines HR Group. I'm also currently working as the vice president for global operations, global HR operations of Inspiro. It's a BPO company and I handle Asia Pacific, US, Latin America, and Europe regions. My topic for today is about retention strategies amidst the Great Resignation. You know what? A lot of people over the past few months have been asking me, Coach, have you heard about the Great Resignation? Because it's happening now. It's something very in right now in the US and a lot of first world countries. And most of the leaders, especially in the BPO sector and other sectors as well, are in some way have mixed emotions. Will the Philippines be affected of this wave of Great Resignation that is happening globally? And if ever the Philippines will be affected, how can we make sure that we will retain our best talents, that we protect our talents? Kasi di ba, our talents, our people, our employees, is our best assets in our company. So that's my topic for today, how to retain your employees and also to make sure that you are able to combat the Great Resignation. Okay, so let me just start. So this is my profile, but let me just go ahead and start with my presentation. So the first topic for today is, let's understand the Great Resignation. Ano nga ba itong Great Resignation? Diba? Kasi over the past 2 years, the COVID pandemic has spread throughout the world and it greatly affected a lot of economies. First world to third world countries, you will actually feel the effect of COVID. And not only on our healthcare system, but also in the economies of countries. And some would actually even argue now because of the COVID pandemic, it changed a lot in terms of how we work, and it permanently changed how the landscape of work is. That's the reason why there was a term coined about having a new normal, right? So what is the Great Resignation and what is this phenomenon? So let us first acknowledge, sino ba yung nag-coin ng phrase na the Great Resignation? So the Great Resignation is actually an idea of Professor Anthony Klotz. You're seeing his picture right now, and he's a Texan A&M University, a professor at A&M University. And what he did is he predicted, if on the onset of the pandemic, he already predicted that there will be a wave of resignations because of this particular pandemic. And when it ends, a lot of workers would have a new sense of normality, of how work should be. So if you would actually look into different definitions online or in news, a lot of speakers or a lot of economists would actually coin the Great Resignation as also the big quit. Kasi diba, people are quitting their jobs. So basically, by definition, it is actually an economic trend wherein employees resign en masse. And when we say en masse, it's not just one, just two, but really hundreds, thousands, and even millions in a single period of time. This actually began in 2021. So the pandemic started 2020, but the Great Resignation started 2021. And primarily, it started in the United States of America. So ano ba yung naging drivers ito, ba't siya nag-start sa US? So I've been going around asking my family in the US, and I've also made some research. And basically what I've found out is this is because the wave of the Great Resignation happens because the US government, refused to provide necessary workers' protection in response to COVID-19 pandemic. Thus, it results to wage stagnation and rising cost of living. So that's the real reason why this big quit or the Great Resignation started in the US. Now, for us to be able to understand this particular phenomenon, a lot of social scientists also describe the Great Resignation as people leaving their jobs after the COVID pandemic ends. That's the reason why it was pegged in year 2021. Nevertheless, alam naman natin na the pandemic is still around. But yung height ng pandemic was in 2019, 2020. At nag-unti-unti na because of the advent of the vaccines. That's a time that people change how they look at work. So some economists have even described the Great Resignation as a kind of general strike. So yung pag-resign daw, yung mass resignation ng mga tao is somehow a strike of the people, of the workers, because they wanted to fight against what is the normal, the current normal in their state of work. So the wave of resignation hit the US and the first world countries. And not only that, it also affected the highly industrialized countries during the advent of this pandemic. Now, siguro may tatanong nyo, based on numbers ba, sino-sino ba yung mga nag-resign? Diba? Ano ba yung demographics ng mga taong nag-resign? According to the study that Adobe and Amdocs has made in 2021, the exodus of this Great Resignation, yung exodus of pag-resign across industries globally, is driven by millennials and Generation Z, who are more likely to be dissatisfied with their work. So more than half of the Generation Z, according to this research, even plans to seek a new job within the next year or within the next 12 months. So if you're seeing here, there's a question, have you considered leaving your job? 37% of Gen Z said yes. 27% coming from the millennials said yes, they want to leave their job. The Gen Xers and the boomers are very conservative. They're at 13 and 14%. So, hindi sila ganun ka exploratory in terms of finding work. But the Gen Zs and the millennials, they're showing that they're sick and tired of the system at work, and they would rather find another job or find greener pastures. Now, isa-isahin natin yung drivers of resignation. Kasi yung drivers of resignation, hindi lang siya particular sa US. Sabi ko nga, it started in the US, but it's a global phenomenon right now. And if you are able to understand ano yung drivers of resignation, yung cause of resignation, you'll be able to also formulate how to counter it, right? So let's go to the first driver. First driver is, because of the pandemic, a lot of people had an aha moment. Alam mo yung aha moment, yung self-realization niya, na-realize mo, ano ba yung importante talaga sa akin ngayong mga panahong to na naranasan ko yung pandemic? And a lot of people in the world, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, started to rethink about life, about their career, about their work conditions, and about their long-term goals. About life, because of the pandemic, a lot of people realized that nothing is permanent and nothing is stable. With regards to their career, same thing. Because of a lot of employers, a lot of businesses closed down, the stability at work is being questioned, diba? And then, in terms of working conditions, na-realize ng mga tao, bakit ko ipapahamak yung sarili ko sa paglabas where I'll be able to I'll have a great chance to actually be contaminated with the virus and also be sick and spread the virus to my family. Diba? So basically, there's a lot of aha moments, a lot of realization of people. And because of that, that's one of the triggers of the Great Resignation. Second drivers of the Great Resignation would be safety concerns. Diba? Many people in 2021, because of the advent of the vaccine, a lot of economies wanted to go back to pre-pandemic times wherein businesses are open, economies are thriving, but hindi nila yung magawa 100%. Mainly because a lot of workers, they have desired to have freedom to work at home given the pandemic. Kasi a lot of people are still afraid to go out. And this is not just happening in the US. I mean, here, even in the Philippines, if you would remember, if you're working in HR or if you're a people manager, during the early stages of the pandemic, during the height of the pandemic, even up to now, a lot of people are very, very careful. They would rather stay at home and work rather than go on site. Right? Because the possibility of them being inflicted of the virus is a lot more. So it's a safety concern. Another drivers for the Great Resignation is new way of work. Now, with the advent of the COVID-19 pandemic, and a lot of companies realize that yung nga, problem is yung mga tao ayaw nilang lumabas ng bahay para magtrabaho at mag-report on site. So a lot of companies shifted from working on site to working to having a flexible work arrangement, either telecommuting, working from home, or remote working. So because of that, because of the flexible work arrangements, people realize that, hey, this is the in thing. This is actually how you'll be able to live and work under these conditions. And thus, it's the new normal. A lot of companies realize that if they invest in telecommuting, they are actually saving a lot of their revenues because they don't have to pay rent. They don't have to pay utilities in their office. They don't have to pay a lot of incidental expenditures when you maintain an on-site or an office, right? So that's the reason why telecommuting is very in right now. And also that's driving the Great Resignation. Another drivers for the Great Resignation is this is not new, but over the years, because of the change from one generation to another, people started to realize that they really want work-life balance or having the work-life balance mentality. So many workers, particularly the younger generation, as mentioned, the millennials and Generation Z, they're seeking to gain a better work-life balance as part of their working experience and career growth. Go through social media. Over the past few months, you will see people who are actually preferred working in the beach, diba? In different resorts, in staycations, diba? They would the idea of working in an environment where you're most comfortable and enjoying and feeling safe is what drives this work-life balance mentality. Another drivers of the Great Resignation would be the reality that millions of people got sick. And even though there have been vaccines already that prevents us from having a severe effect of the virus, there are people who got the virus and had a long-term effect in their body. And this is what doctors would term as long-term or permanent COVID-19 related disability. Understand that the COVID-19, although is a cardio or pulmonary disease, it also has a long effect in your different organs. I mean, scientists and doctors are now finding out that there are, because of the COVID-19 virus, it affects not only your pulmonary system, not only your lungs, but also your heart, your brain, your liver, your intestine, your stomach, and a lot more. So basically, when you check the medical records of people who have had COVID, there are reports of long-term effects, and that's the reason why people are afraid to go back to work. And that's the reason why people would rather seek different opportunities that would be able to make them have this sense of safety, and also make them be able to work even though they have this long-term disability. Another drivers for the Great Resignation is yung tinatawag nating welfare trap. Narinig niyo na ba yung welfare trap? Welfare trap is actually, for this particular scenario, the welfare trap is the different COVID-19 stimulus payments and unemployment benefits na binibigay ng government sa mga tao na nawala ng trabaho, for them to be able to survive, stay at home, and also provide food and whatever needs that they would have until such time na magkaroon sila ng panibagong work. In the US and in first world countries, do you know that billions of dollars are being given to the whole population as part of the COVID-19 stimulus package, and there are unemployment benefits being given to those who were affected by COVID-19. And it's not only happening in first world countries, even here in the Philippines, di ba? Ito yung tinatawag nating ayuda. Nakailang ayuda na ba tayo? Nakailang beses na tayong binigyan ng government ng welfare benefit because of unemployment, or because we're affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, because of this, understand that sa US kasi, they would normally receive a check of about $1,000 to $1,500 for a month. And that's actually big. They would rather, and if you would compare the monthly salary or the average salary of a minimum age worker in the US, comparing to what the US government is giving or what countries are giving in terms of ayuda or unemployment benefit, halos pantay lang. Kasi pag nabigyan ka ng ayuda, syempre walang tax. Hindi mo kailangang gumastos para sa transportation mo, hindi mo kailangang gumastos para sa pagkain mo sa labas. Kumbaga, maraming tao ang narealize na, hey, mag-a-apply na lang ako ng unemployment benefit. And you know what? I have a perfect video to actually show you guys what is this welfare trap is all about. So the welfare trap, fueling the Great Resignation. I hope that I'll be able to share this video.
Imagine that you've been unemployed and seeking work for months. Government benefit programs have helped you cover rent, utilities, and food, but you're barely getting by. Finally, you hear back about a job application. You receive your first paycheck in months, and things seem to be turning around, but there's a catch. Your new job pays just enough to disqualify you from the benefit programs and not enough to cover the same costs. To make things worse, you have to pay for transportation to work and childcare while you're at the office. Somehow, you have less money now than when you were unemployed. Economists call this demoralizing situation the welfare trap, one of the many different poverty traps affecting millions of people around the world. Poverty traps are economic and environmental circumstances that reinforce themselves, perpetuating poverty for generations. Some poverty traps are tied to an individual circumstances, like a lack of access to healthy food or education. Others can affect entire nations, such as cycles of corrupt government or climate change. But the cruel irony of welfare traps in particular is that they stem from the very policies designed to battle poverty. Most societies throughout history employed some strategies to help people in poverty meet basic needs. Before the 20th century, religious groups and private charities often led such initiatives. Today, these are called welfare programs, and they usually take the form of government-provided subsidies for housing, food, energy, and healthcare. Typically, these programs are means-tested, meaning that only people who fall below a certain income level are eligible for benefits. This policy is designed to ensure aid goes to those who need it most, but it also means people lose access as soon as they earn more than the qualification threshold, regardless of whether or not they're financially stable enough to stay there. This vicious cycle is harmful to both those in poverty and those outside of it. Mainstream economic models assume people are rational actors who weigh the cost and benefits of their options and choose the most advantageous path forward. If those in poverty know they'll gain no net benefit from working, they're incentivized to remain on government assistance. Of course, people work for many reasons, including societal norms and personal values. But income is a major incentive to pursuing employment. And when less people take on new jobs, the economy slows down, keeping people in poverty and potentially pushing people on the cusp of poverty over the edge. Some have suggested this feedback loop could be removed by eliminating government assistance programs altogether. But most agree this solution is neither realistic nor humane. So how can we redesign benefits in a way that doesn't penalize people for working? Many countries have tried different ways to circumvent this problem. Some allow people to continue receiving benefits for a given period after finding a job, while others phase out benefits gradually as income increases. These policies still remove some financial incentive to work, but the risk of a welfare trap is lower. Other governments provide benefits like education, childcare, or medical care, equally across all their citizens. One proposed solution takes this idea of universal benefits even further. A universal basic income would provide a fixed benefit to all members of society, regardless of wealth or employment status. This is the only known policy that could entirely remove welfare traps, since any earned wages would supplement the benefit rather than replace it. In fact, by creating a stable income floor below which no one can fall, basic income might prevent people from falling into poverty in the first place. Numerous economists and thinkers have championed this idea since the 18th century, but for now, universal basic income remains largely hypothetical. Although it's been tried in some places on a limited scale, these local experiments don't tell us much about how the policy would play out across an entire nation or a planet. Whatever strategy governments pursue, solving the welfare trap requires respecting people's agency and autonomy. Only by empowering individuals to create long-term change in their lives and communities can we begin to break the cycle of poverty. Agency is a type of power that comes from the marriage of action and choice. But what exactly is power? What role does it play in society? Is there a way to acquire and use it responsibly? Learn more with this video.
Okay, so I hope that you're able to watch the video and understand the concept of the welfare trap. This is not only happening in first world countries again, even in the Philippines, we've seen this. We've seen people who would rather wait for the ayuda or the unemployment benefit rather than find work or find a decent opportunity for them, right? So those are one of the drivers of the Great Resignation. Now, after understanding what is the Great Resignation, what are the drivers of the Great Resignations, let's go to the effect of the Great Resignation. how is it impacting our lives in general? Okay, so let's start first on how it impacted the US. So in the US, as early as April 2021, according to data, there are about 4.43 million Americans who quit their jobs. Another 3.9 million workers quit come June of the same year. Basically, there's a lot of opportunities in the US, but people are just quitting their jobs because they wanted a better opportunities or to work under a new normal. And that's the reason why employers are rethinking how to attract these people who have rendered the resignation. There's also a part of the phenomena of the Great Resignation, which started in the US, is what happened last October. They had this strike-tober. This is actually a large march of those people in the workers' union. More than 100,000 American workers participated for this strike action. Some economists even describe the Great Resignation as a workers participating in general strike against poor working conditions and low wages. So it made a lot of people realize that, hey, there's no job stability. We are being given very little benefits, not only by the government, but also by our companies. And there should be changes on the condition of work. So that's the effect of the Great Resignation. Now, after finding the effect, we should ask a question, no? Is the Great Resignation just an isolated case in the US? As I've said in the previous slides, it's not only happening in the US. It's not only happening in first world countries, it's also happening in highly urbanized, highly industrialized countries, and even us in the third world countries are experiencing the effect of the Great Resignation. Again, the Great Resignation is a global phenomenon. Just to drive a point, the Great Resignation, again, is a phenomenon that happens across many countries. For example, for first world countries and highly industrial countries, you will see there in the graph from June of 2019 to June of 2020, and from June of 2020 to June of 2021, the rate of turnover or the turnover or resignation per country, yung percentage of resignation. And you will see Singapore, US, Germany, France, India, China, Canada, Brazil, Australia, highly industrial countries are seeing really a spike in the resignation happening in their countries. Now, even in Europe, countries like Belgium, France, UK, Germany, Italy, and the Netherlands have recorded also a spike of resignation. Now, based on research, if we compute the quit rate, yung quit rate, ito yung quits over unemployed, quits over employed population, yung percentage ng nag-resign versus the employed population, and quit share, ito yung quits over a total contract of termination. Their data is showing that they too are affected by the Great Resignation. And near home, near the Philippines and the Asia-Pacific region, would you believe that even China, a highly industrialized, highly urbanized country, is also experiencing the Great Resignation. But the term they've used is tangping. Tangping is actually a lifestyle choice, and it's more of a social protest movement that happens in China, and it's being triggered by the young generation, by young people who reject societal pressures of hard work. Would you believe that in China, a lot of workers are working 12 hours a day, 6 times a week. And a lot of those are overwork workers choose to just do tangping. Tangping means lying flat or lying flat and get over the beatings of the society. Kasi mas gusto nila yung yung tumihaya na lang kesa yung maranasan nila yung hirap na pagtatrabaho na sa tingin naman nila they're working in a very hazardous and very unjust working conditions. Actually, tangping is a serious issue right now in China. Again, it means lying flat in a plank, and this is a Chinese phenomenon equivalent to the Great Resignation. And a lot of Chinese economists would actually define this as younger generation opting out from a highly competitive society and deciding that they don't want to get married, they don't want to they don't want to own properties, and they don't want to work at all. They don't want to be part of the rat race. Diba? So that's something that is happening in China. And it's part of the wave of resignation happening globally. Even in India, another highly urbanized and highly industrialized country, there has been a spike of large-scale resignations in their economy. The information sector witnessed massive attrition that has never been seen before in the last few decades in India. So we can somehow make a conclusion that generally the reports showing the Great Resignation is a global phenomenon, and it affects mostly the younger generations, and it affects mid-career employees. These are the people or the demographics that has the high rate of resignation. And in terms of industries, reports has been that it's affecting retail, hospitality, leisure and travel, manufacturing, technology, and healthcare. Let me just share to you a report from Microsoft's 2021 Work Trend Index. Here you will see that 70% of workers prefer remote work. 54% says that they're burned out in their current job situation. And 39% are saying that they would like to have an authentic experience at work. But basically, out of the whole numbers of employees that has been surveyed, 40% of the global workforce is saying that they're ready to quit or they're ready to resign the next 12 months. Imagine that. 40% of the global workforce are thinking of quitting their jobs in the next 12 months. And as I mentioned, these are the industries that are highly hit or industries that are feeling the crunch of the Great Resignation. Aside from Microsoft's 2021 Work Index, I just want to mention there's also a research from PricewaterhouseCoopers. It was conducted last August 2021. That is saying that 65% of employees are not only are looking for new opportunities. Kung 40% ang nagsasabi sa Microsoft survey na they want to quit, 65% ang naghahanap na actively ng trabaho. And about 88% of the executives of companies are saying that they're really experiencing a large or a higher turnover never been seen over the past few years. Another study by Deloitte. Now, Deloitte, we've known Deloitte to be a worldwide research firm, Deloitte said, and it was published in the Forbes magazine, if I'm not mistaken, last October of 2021. According to this report, Fortune 1,000 companies in the world, 73% of CEOs are already anticipating that there will be a work shortage that would possibly disrupt businesses in the next 12 months. And I'll be honest with you, I'm part of the BPO industry, and most of our CEOs, our presidents have been talking about this since early part of last year. And we are anticipating that for Q1 and Q2, there will be a lot of changes, a lot of resignations, even here in the Philippines. Now, after understanding that the Great Resignation is not only confined or isolated in the US, but realizing that it's really a global phenomenon, there's this question: is the Philippines really affected by the Great Resignation? What do you think? Will the Philippines be impacted, or how is the Philippines being impacted by this global phenomenon of the Great Resignation? Now, Philippines, for a start, is somehow different from first world countries or highly industrialized countries kasi we have an absence of a stable social security system. We don't have a institutionalized unemployment benefit. Our unemployment benefit is normally on a per need basis, and it requires law to be passed, di ba? Kaya nga merong over the past 2 years, merong mga ayuda. Bago magbigay ng ayuda, kailangan mo nang gumawa ng batas para makapag-distribute at makapagbigay ng pera ng unemployment benefit sa ating mga kababayan. Now, that's the difference of our current condition here in the Philippines. Kaya hindi natin nakita kaagad yung nangyayari sa ibang bansa na talagang merong droves of people who has the luxury to quit their jobs. Now, there are pros and cons of this global phenomenon, yung Great Resignation. And the reason why I would like to discuss this is because, aminin natin na hindi tayo ganun ka-affected ng global phenomenon ng Great Resignation. Pero we are actually being affected, may ripple effect sa atin. And a lot of people, aside from the CEOs and presidents na nag-anticipate that there will be a exodus of people who will be resigning for this year in 2022 because of opportunities, diba? Other opportunities. There are also positive and negative side of this global phenomenon that will affect the Philippines. Now, I would like you guys, since I've been talking for a few minutes already, I would like you guys to share to us what do you think are the pros and cons of the global Great Resignation, or this global phenomenon, what we call the Great Resignation. So Irish, can you please help us on this?
Yes, Coach. So this is the time that we will be needing your point of views and your feedback. So please do, we encourage you to participate in our question. So please do visit Mentimeter. Type in www.menti.com and use the code 19540.
We would like to have an authentic experience at work.
Okay, so please do answer the question. Can you cite what are the positive effects of the Great Resignation for the Philippines? Or if you want, you can just type it in the chat box as well. Ayan. So we will be waiting for your feedback, your insights on this question. So let's wait, Coach Darwin.
Sure. Ano lang I'd just like to highlight, according to Grace Soledad Santos, for teachers, she thinks that there is a positive effect because there are many opportunities right now in the US. That's true. I mean, a lot of Americans are quitting their jobs. And for us, Filipinos who would like to migrate in the US or would like to work in the US, that's an opportunity, right? Even healthcare workers in the US are quitting their jobs or finding other opportunities. And there's a vacuum of opportunities for the welfare industry in the US and other countries like Germany, UK, and they're getting their manpower here in the Philippines.
Okay, we have one here from Ildefonso Alerta, greater opportunity for employment in other countries. So for our Mentimeter, work-life balance of the employees to create their own businesses, more work opportunities abroad for Filipino professionals and skilled workers, as you've said, Coach Darwin, safety, greater opportunity of employment, unemployment, an opportunity to get rid of low performers. Another one, employees are having the courage of moving out of their comfort zone and taking a risk of grabbing opportunities and career growth. Yeah, thank you po for your feedback, your comments. We have another one here in the chat box from Flora Bell Catanyag, a chance for Filipinos to be able to find job and fill in the jobs abroad.
Puro abroad.
Puro abroad. Yeah. Okay, entrepreneurial ideas and initiatives in the employees. Another answer, cost-cutting measures for companies they do not need to retrench. Ayan po. Okay. From Emmanuel, the gain of others will be the loss for some. Any other views from our participants? Come on, guys. From Maria Cecilia, healthcare workers goes abroad who offers better incentives.
You know what, Irish? I also would like to cite some positive effects of the Great Resignation for the Philippines. I mean, a lot of our audience, tama lahat ng mga sinabi nila, employment opportunities abroad, retaining good employees, cost-cutting measures. Another thing that I'm seeing is that because of opportunities abroad, there's also opportunities for these countries to outsource work here in the Philippines. Diba? Kasi nga, if they don't find talent in their own countries, they would rather find talent in other countries who would have cheaper labor. And that will be us. So there is a possible spike also in the growth of outsourcing opportunities. Another positive effect is, yung gig economy, sobrang lumaki yan ngayong pandemic, di ba? Parang at the start of the pandemic, parang lahat na lang halos ng tao nagbebenta ng iba't ibang klase ng food. Lahat na lang ng tao nagiging entrepreneur, di ba? They opted to find side hustles, di ba? A lot of people are going into financial wellness. A lot of people are looking into other kinds of investments and being able to find other opportunities. So the positive effect for me is not only the opportunities that is of course available abroad and the jobs that will be brought here and the expansion of the gig economy, but the fact that people are realizing that there is life beyond their current work, that there is opportunity beyond their current work, that there are possibility to earn more than staying in their current organization. While organizations naman are able to keep those who are most loyal. Organizations are able to streamline and able to ang tawag natin is right size the manpower of the organization. So that's one of the many positive effects of the Great Resignation in the Philippines.
Yes, Coach, it's flooding here in the Mentimeter already. But
sure.
let me read this one interesting answer from Hazel. This means that employees of this generation does not merely go to work for survival. There's so much more than just the salary and benefit package. Bottom line is that the companies will have to restructure their employees' retention programs and make it more competitive.
That's actually our topic later.
Okay.
Time for employers to recalibrate learning and development and their benefit package to ignite retention and invite new talents. That's actually very important. And not only that, in terms of the new educational system of the Philippines, a lot of employers are realizing that there are certain jobs na hindi naman talaga kailangan ng college graduate. Kaya nga tayo nag K-12 di ba? Because there are certain skill sets that people who are not able to have the privilege of going to college but can actually be successful in that particular line of job. Okay, now, Irish, we've seen the positive effects. Tanungin naman natin yung mga audience natin. Ano yung negative effects? Kasi di ba, ano yan? Equilibrium dapat yan. May positive and negative effects.
Okay, thank you, Coach Darwin. So we will be sending you another code for Mentimeter. So can you cite what are the negative effects of the Great Resignation for the Philippines? This time, it's negative effects naman po. So go to mentimeter.com, type in the code 1954045 57, and once again, we would love to hear your thoughts.
Full in that particular line of job. Okay, now, Irish, we've seen the positive effect.
Okay, let's wait.
According to Carmela Kabatkan, poverty is a negative effect. Financial losses, according to Peter de Velosa. Ildefonso Alerta says Great Resignation for better opportunities abroad. I think that's the positive effect. Loss of income, according to Jonas Salvador. High unemployment rate, stress. Please put it on the mentees.
Mentimeter. Okay. For the mentee naman po, Coach Darwin, unemployment rate higher, the cost of attrition. We have anxiety. It will be harder for the recruiters. Stressful. Ayan. Resignation can trigger other issues. Higher attrition for companies and high mental stress due to financial stability. Yan, it's flooding now. Operations may be greatly affected if the HR cannot replace the resigned employees. Recruitment expense for the companies, mental health of employees. Ayan po yung mga negative effects. Kung high-performing employee ang mag-resign, possible pilay ang operations. Loss of great talents in the company from Raquel. Thank you. Okay, from Jonathan, common problems, lost income and lack manpower and full of stress. Okay, thank you so much. Another feedback is absorption of work for those who are left behind if employer will not recruit for replacement. From Rushen Lavarias, disruption of work routines. Delay of deliveries. Razel. Thank you. Thank you for comments, feedbacks, and answers.
So here in Irish, loss of great talents. I think one of the main negative effects of the global resignation phenomenon is that because of opportunities abroad, people sabi nga, are applying to go abroad and to take that opportunity. At ending is there will be a brain drain in our economy, right? Because a lot of skilled, highly skilled workers are leaving the country to find opportunities abroad, because there are a lot of opportunities abroad because of the Great Resignation. Another negative effect is, would you believe that the real estate industry is highly affected right now because of the pandemic, and also because of the resignation, the Great Resignation phenomenon, because a lot of people who were renting out condos, apartments near their workplace are now going back to the province, going back to their houses, and working via telecommuting. So a lot of rental properties of condominiums, apartments, and whatnot are closed down and are not booming, right? And yet we are still seeing here in the Philippines a lot of real estate companies are still building. But the question is, are there people buying? Diba? Another negative effect of the Great Resignation, if it trickles down to our economy, is the competitiveness. Basically, it will be a highly competitive market because people or companies would need to provide a lot of compensation, benefits, a lot of perks, a lot of incentives to attract talents. Kasi they will be losing talents if they don't. And for people naman, they will have the opportunity to cherry pick which employer they would like to go. But in doing so, it also means that very limited ang opportunities nila, because a lot of people will be all be applying for a limited opportunity on those companies who are able to provide. Diba? Another thing is there's a lot of businesses that are being supported by employees coming to work on site. Ito yung mga convenience stores, ito yung mga sari-sari stores, yung mga ano, 'di ba? Yung mga underground economies natin. Apektado sila kasi people would rather buy online. They would rather, di ba? There's over the past few years, we've seen the growth of e-commerce. And at the onset of e-commerce, a lot of stores, physical stores, are closing down. So there's also a lot of negative effects of the Great Resignation here in the Philippines. Now, can we go on to our next topic?
Yeah, Coach Darwin, can we have a 5-minute break first before we move on to the next topic? You will just have to park first your presentation, get some breather, get your coffee. Okay, so everyone.
Irish now, before we I would like to read this coming from Marisa Araya. This is actually very true. Negative effect would be added stress and burden to the existing workforce because they need to absorb the deliverables of the people who are leaving the organization.
With that one, Coach Darwin, I have one answer here in the Mentimeter. So the answer is very challenging for the HR practitioners because of the pressure in hiring and retaining those who are still in the company. And productivity of HR will just focus on recruitment rather than employee relations and retaining the employees. Diba?
What's happening right now? That's what's actually happening right now, especially in the BPO industries. Our focus right now, instead of talent development, the focus right now is hiring the right talent. Kasi a lot of people are really thinking of doing freelance work, doing virtual assistant work where it's home-based, doing e-commerce business, which you have your own time. So, di ba? So, yeah, let's talk more about it. Let's talk more about the Great Resignations. And my next slide would actually be more of the different strategies that you guys can implement in your company to be able to retain your best workers.
Okay, thank you so much, Coach Darwin. So everyone, let's have a 5-minute break. This is your time for coffee break, washroom break. Ayan naman po, for the others naman who will be staying, so please do join me for our quick icebreaker. We will be playing a game. By the way, thank you for your active participation in our poll. Maraming salamat. So this time, we will be playing Guess the Movie. Ayan po, for those of you who have already attended Ariva webinars, you already know this game. For the others, for the benefit of the new attendees, so we will be playing Guess the Movie. We will be playing some movie clips. And all you have to do is type in the complete title of the movie in the chat box. And the first person to guess the correct title will, of course, win 200 pesos GCash worth. Ayan. Diba? Okay, are you ready, guys? Give me thumbs up, please. Or 111 in the chat box. Who would like to join? Come on, come on, come on. Kailangan mabilis ang internet at mabilis din mag-type in the chat box. Okay, for this time, let's do a dry run. Let's do a practice play. Okay, so everyone, Ariva team, please play the movie clip. Practice run pa lang po ito. Trial, okay. Okay, and of course, the answer is Titanic. Okay, for this one, ang pinaka first to type in the correct title is, let me check, but this one is trial run first, ha? Okay, let's check. It's Charmaine. Charmaine, ayan. So, you all know how to do this game? So this is it, huh? Let's get ready. Ariva team, please play the movie clip.
And a decent home for his kids.
How do you like it?
Can't you just tell Mom you're sorry?
But he found a way.
I'm placing an ad for a housekeeper.
Housekeeper? Could you make me a woman?
To have both.
Wow. Let's pray.
Hello? Euphigenia Doubtfire.
Okay, and I'm seeing Matilda, Mrs. Doubtfire, and the correct answer is Mrs. Doubtfire. We have, okay, let's check who got it first. It's Jeffrey Lee. Congratulations, Jeffrey. You won 200 pesos GCash. So all you have to do is send me a direct message of your GCash account number para ma-transfer na natin sa inyo agad-agad ang 200 pesos. Okay? So this time, for the next round, let's give chance to others. Jeffrey, okay? So here is it. Okay, Ariva team, please play the movie clip.
Comical how you think that you've made a choice that exempts you from the fashion industry when in fact you're wearing a sweater that was selected for you by the people in this room.
Okay, I'm seeing Devil Wears Prada. Kailangan po complete, ha? Complete title. Devil Wears Prada. Let's see who got it first. Ariva team, please help me. And the winner is Isabella Novales. Congratulations. Congratulations, Isabella. Same with Jeffrey. Send me direct message of your GCash account number para matransfer na natin sa inyo agad-agad ang 200 pesos. Congratulations, guys. Thank you for participating in our game. So before I give the floor back to our speaker, Coach Darwin, and before we resume to our program, please hear some few announcements. Okay. Ariva Academy is on social media. Please stay on top of our insights and updates. Please stay connected. Visit us on our social media pages. Please join the Ariva Academy Facebook group, like the Ariva Academy Facebook page, follow the Ariva Academy LinkedIn page, and visit us on our website. It's www.ariva.com.ph for the calendar of e-learning sessions. Okay? And if you missed the live webinars that we did during the pandemic, we have invited international local subject matter experts to share with us their wisdom on how to cope up with these trying times. Please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click the bell button. It's Ariva Academy and Ariva Talks. Once again, Ariva Academy and Ariva Talks YouTube channel. For our upcoming online learning sessions, we would like to invite you to our essential competencies for new norm human resource management, and this will be happening tomorrow, January 20. Strengthening communication skills at work, how to be more assertive in a hybrid work environment, January 21, Friday. Handling employee grievance and regulating employee conduct, January 26. Ethics, privacy, and employee and clients' data management, managing data privacy risk in today's global environment, January 26 as well. Paralegal, business contract law for non-legal professionals, January 27. And we have our first ever virtual forum for 2022, the 2022 Employee Welfare and Fringe Benefits. We have once again invited the spokespersons from SSS, Pag-ibig, PhilHealth, and DOLE. This will be happening on January 28, so please do register now. Master MS PowerPoint, Effective Business Presentations in PowerPoint, February 9. Leading with Emotional Intelligence, How to be a High-Performing Leader in a Hybrid World, February 10. Job contracting and subcontracting, outsourcing the legal way to prevent labor problems, February 11. The 5th Effective Technical and Report Writing Skills for Peak Performance Excellence, February 16. Leadership, Navigating the Transition from Staff Member to Supervisor, February 18. And if you want to invite Coach Darwin Rivers to do an exclusive e-learning session for your team, your company, you would like to invite our partner speakers to do an exclusive session for you, please do call me. This is Irish Malonda Samson. At your service, you may call me at 0916-695-4418 or email me at irish.arivaacademy@gmail.com. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much. And once again, let's all welcome back our speaker, Coach Darwin Rivers. Hello, Coach.
Sure, let me just share my screen again.
Yes, please.
Just give me a few sec. Saan na nga ba tayo? Dito tayo sa may sa may let's see, strategies to combat the global resignation. Let me just put that.
There you go.
Can you see my screen?
Yes. Yes, Coach.
Okay, good. So we've already discussed about the definition of the Great Resignation, its effect in the US, and how it spread throughout the globe, how it affected highly industrialized countries and even third world countries. We've also discussed what are the different drivers of this Great Resignation, and we've also just recently talked about our own understanding on the pros and cons of the Great Resignation and how it affects the Philippines. Now, my next slide is about discussing the different strategies to combat the Great Resignation. Diba? Kasi again, a lot of employers, even here in the Philippines, are expecting that there will be an exodus of people resigning from work because based on research that was conducted last year, over the next 12 months, a lot of people are thinking of resigning in their current organization. According to Microsoft's survey, worker survey, 40% of the global population of workers are planning to resign. According to another survey by PricewaterhouseCoopers, about 68 to 70% of global employees are thinking of looking for other opportunities elsewhere. So how can we make sure, since our workers, our employees are our most valuable asset in the company, how can we retain them? This is my next topic. So strategies to combat the Great Resignation. How can we thrive at this phenomenon? No, there are different strategies to combat the Great Resignation. Number one, and employers, people leaders, HR, please listen. You have to incentivize loyalty. When we say incentivize loyalty, you have to pay people enough to take the issue of money out of the table, di ba? Kung naghahanap sila ng pera, ng mas malaking pera sa ibang kumpanya, then might as well, ibigay mo na ngayon pa lang para hindi nila isiping maghanap or maghanap ng iba pang trabaho. So in addition to possibly providing them monetary benefits, you may want to check on how you can update your overall compensation package. You might want to consider offering employee one-time bonuses or what we call loyalty rewards program for your employees. You can also help in paying their student loans or providing them with work from home stipends. You know what? A lot of employees right now are very creative. Over the past few months, we've been seeing companies providing internet allowance, utility or electrical or water allowances. We've seen companies sending foods to their employees while working at home. We've seen companies shuttling employees from their homes to the office. We've seen companies sending out care kits, hygiene kits to their employees. We've seen companies increasing the annual increases of the employees. Kasi that's one of the things that companies could do to retain employees. You need to incentivize your employees' loyalty. Okay? An added benefit of leveling up your compensation is it also gives an opportunity to detect and correct pay inequities. Kasi most probably when you see your pay chart in your own organization from entry level up to managerial, you will see that there are certain inequalities of pay. And this is a perfect opportunity to correct them by reviewing your entire compensation benefit package and being able to really think, how can we retain our employees, and also how can we make sure that we incentivize their loyalty so that they will remain loyal to our organization. So number one, incentivize loyalty. Another strategy to combat the Great Resignation is understand that employees would always want to have an opportunity for development and growth. Note that hindi lang growth kailangan development. Kasi yun ang hinahanap ng tao. Kasi hindi ba pwedeng i-promote mo yung tao na hindi niya na-feel na worthy siya dun sa promotion. Kailangan ma-feel niya na, meron silang dinaan ng developmental opportunity for him or her to be able to reach the growth on his or her own career. That's the reason why one of the strategies is you provide opportunities for development and growth in your organization. So pretend that your best people just handed out a resignation to you. You may want to ask them, if you would shape your dream job here, what will it be? If you can change or shape your dream job in this organization, ano yung pwede niyang gawin, di ba? Then I'm sure masasabi ng employee na yon na he or she can tell you a lot of opportunities na sana di-develop mo yung skill niya, sana di-develop mo yung knowledge niya for him to be able to be more productive and also be able to realize his or her own full potential. You need to look for ways to make this happen. You need to wear your thinking hat, and you need to make sure that you're forward thinking in creating opportunities for employees and also opportunities for them to develop within your organization. Because without learning and development, without growth, people leave organizations. Next strategy that we would have is for companies to provide, elevate your purpose. Sorry, the double pala yung kanina. You need to elevate your purpose. So when we say elevate your purpose, di ba, most companies would have a mission, vision, and also they would normally sell a particular culture that they have that is unique from other organizations. Understand that at this moment, at these times of the Great Resignation, importante on what makes your company unique. What's your what makes your employees happy to be part of your organization? Elevate your purpose. When we say elevate your purpose, you need to put aside work itself and try to make valuable relationships or connections with your employees. You need to solidify relationships with your organization or within your organization, and know that based on research for COVID-19 pandemic, it indicates that social connection is really important. It's really significant because it has a positive impact on overall productivity. Mind you, there's a research done. It was published in Forbes magazine na nagsasabi that among blue and white collar workers around the globe, these workers place a higher priority on having good relationships with co-workers as one of the many job attributes that would make them stay in the organization. Remember, it's very important that you make your employees feel that they're not only coming to work because of work, but they're coming to work because they are familiar. Their work is their second home. And if you're able to achieve that through different engagement programs and through different touch points, through different activities, and what we call this in different areas wherein engagement will be high to your employees, then they would stay because your employees will feel that they're really part of your organization. The employees will feel that they are really valued. Next part of the strategy is you need to invest in taking care of the employees and their families. Yes, tama po kayo ng naririnig. It's not only your employees you need to take care of, but also their families, and I'll tell you why. First, you need to, because of the pandemic, a lot of people are experiencing mental health fatigue. And one of the things that you can do is make sure you provide mental health programs, mental health resources, not only to your employees, but to their families as well. Because remember, when your employees goes back at home and they're experiencing problems at home, that problems that they have at home can have a ripple effect and can be brought in and disrupt their productivity in your organization. That's the reason why most companies right now are opening up their HMO, their group life insurance, not only specific to the employee, but also to the dependents and the family members of their employees. And perfect example nga dyan is yung mga mental health programs, and acknowledge that personal sacrifices being done by each and every employee during this pandemic is important. Help parents by providing their children through subsidized care. Or kaya, a lot of companies right now are giving additional paid time off. And if you would remember, yesterday, DOLE has announced that they are urging, highlight ko lang, they are urging employers, they are urging companies to give additional leave benefits for employees who have been inflicted with the COVID-19 disease. And you know what? Not every company can actually provide that, but that's something good to have. And surprisingly, we've done a research. Last night, our chief human resource officer talked to CCAP and ITBPAP, and we had a quick survey if other companies are giving additional leave credits on top of their existing leave credits. And lo and behold, we found out that a lot of people, a lot of employers actually have started providing COVID leaves or vaccination leaves to their employees. And you know what? That's something. It may be small, but it's highly impacting, because it means that you're really taking care of the health and wellness of not only your employees, but again, extending it to their families. Next is the reality that the new normal has already begun. And the new normal means flexibility at work. So employers, companies should realize that they really need to embrace flexibility. And when we say embrace flexibility, the future of work is, to be honest, employers need to provide a flexible work arrangement or a flexible work environment in terms of place, time, job description, and career paths for their employees. They need to embrace it. Companies need to embrace that reality that hindi na to yung traditional way of work, that they need to be flexible. Better yet, have the employees form teams to create their future of work. Ask them, ask your employees, how do they think, how would they see themselves working in the next 3, 6, 12 months? How will they be most productive? Will they want to work on site? Would they like to have a flexible work arrangement wherein there are days that they'll be working on site, there'll be days that they'll be working at home, or they would really prefer to have a telecommuting institutionalized in your organization. And I know that not all works, not all type of jobs can be done at home because of security issues, because of clients' needs and whatnot. But basically, a lot of work can be done at home, and it has been proven that even if workers are working at home or would have a work at home setup, productivity never change. In some instances, in most cases pa nga, productivity went up. Now, if people help build their dream home, they'll want to live in it. So this is really more of a metaphor, because work is your employee's second home. If you are able to help your employees build their dream home or their dream work environment, then they will make sure that they live it, and you are assured that they will not leave your organization. Remember also that employees cut off from their preferred work environment will walk away from companies which don't suit their needs. I also understand, just a note, in speaking of flexibility, not only in providing flexible work arrangements or flexible time, job description, or career paths, but also this is also an opportunity for employers to be flexible on their qualifications. And that's what I was saying earlier in this presentation, that some companies need to realize that some works can be done by people who are not college graduates, diba? You have to loosen up your qualifications. Considering hiring candidates who don't quite fit your profile, but at least reach about 75% of your minimum requirement, try to hire them, diba? Try to utilize them and see, because in reality, more than half of the technology giants like IBM or Dell, their job openings do not require a 4-year college degree. That's reality. Even Google, even LinkedIn, even a lot of big corporations right now, they don't even require a college degree, but they need people who have the right skill and experience to do the work productively and correctly. If you're able to find those people by lowering or loosening your qualifications, then you'll be able to corner a new market of potential employees. Next strategy is always keep an open, transparent, and two-way communications line with your employees. Understand that transparent communication among staff and management needed to increase during pandemic, because even right now, diba, when most of the employees are working at home and there's no face-to-face contact with their people managers, with their HR, mas lalo na ngayon dapat na mas engaging ang HR at mas engaging ang mga people managers. HR professionals in particular should be tasked in constantly communicating to employees, making sure that safety protocols are also communicated to them for those people working on site. Policies and business updates are also communicated to people who are working at home. This level of communication is the minimum expectations of the employees right now. You need to understand that employees needs to have regular updates from top management, from organizations. Having a strong and transparent two-way communication is actually an opportunity to build a stronger company culture. Now, one of the things that I would like to add is, if you create opportunities to have frequent or anonymous feedback, either through surveys or different feedback mechanisms, then employers can realize what are the things that employees are not telling them, and create programs and plans, and also activities that could help change the minds of employees from leaving, or also help mitigate attrition. The last strategy to combat the Great Resignation, and I feel this is very important for everyone, is the development of your people leaders, or the development of your managers. Understand that based on the 2021 Work Institute study, it shows that managers can influence the careers and work-life balance of their employees. They hone companies by setting the tone of culture, mentoring, and redesigning jobs. These managers are the reasons in terms of improving employee work-life balance and ensuring employee-employer relationships. According to the study, development of managers is a must and should be the center of every employer strategy, especially at these times where there's a real threat in Great Resignations because of the Great Resignation phenomena, and a real threat because we're also seeing a new age of the talent wars. Now, for us to be able to thrive in this era of Great Resignation, mabalik tayo. Ano ba yung qualities of a future-ready leader? So let's just compare. We have what I call the past paralyzed. Ito yung traditional thinking of managers. Command and control, micromanagement, fixed mindset, dictator, dogmatic, personal gratification, biases, and monitor, which is time-focused. Versus a future-ready leader. And a future-ready leader are more of empowerment and trust. They empower and trust employees in making sure that they trust employees in how they do their job, and what they do is they just provide direction. They provide employees autonomy. Diba? They're just at the background to motivate and engage employees and understand how they can help the employees do their job better. A future-ready leader would also have a growth mindset. He or she is not only focused on his or her development and growth, but primarily the development and growth of his or her own team members. A future-ready leader is collaborative. He or she is always connected not only to his or her group, but also to other departments and even outside the organization. Being able to check best practices and bring it to their teams. A future-ready leader is experimental. He's curious and seeks on continuously improving how work is being done by the teams. A future-ready leader is humble, di ba? He or she has an organizational impact because he is trusted by the employees. They see this manager as someone that they can trust, that someone who's not boastful, is humble, and be able to accept critical suggestions for a positive impact at work. A future-ready leader also is inclusive and practice equity, diba? When we say inclusive, he or she understands that everyone can bring added value into the table or added value into the organization. And of course, a future-ready leader is able to measure how the productivity of his or her team on a daily basis, on a regular basis, and able to analyze data so that he or she can improve more the productivity of the team. A future-ready leader is focused on the value that he or she brings to the whole organization, aside from the value that the team brings into the whole company. Now, let's discuss about best practices in HR. Diba? Kasi na-discuss ko na yung mga strategies for being able to retain employees. Now, I would like to share to you a two-tier HR practice that is recommended to overcome the Great Resignation. And this is coming from AIHR, or the Academy to Innovate HR. According to AIHR, there are two-tier HR practice. One is to retain and solidify your workforce, making sure that you retain your workforce and make sure that you mitigate any opportunities of attrition, any opportunity of discontent. You'll be able to fully engage your employees. And you can do that by, again, having flexibility and autonomy in your organization, making sure that you have health and mental health policies in place. You need to support your employees in terms of their vaccination, and a lot of companies are doing that right now. And of course, providing employee support in terms of whatever they need in terms of to be able to do their work. I mean, we've seen companies who send out IT collaterals, laptops, desktops to employees, delivering them at home for them to be able to work, providing employees with the right gadgets, with the right IT dongles or Wi-Fi routers, connection stability for them to be able to do their work correctly. And of course, aside from employee support, yung strong social bonds at work. And even on a virtual environment, people leaders, managers in HR should be able to still engage regularly their employees, even in a virtual setup. Now, aside from retain and solidify workforce, another side of the two-tier HR practice is differentiate and advance beyond the minimum. And the suggestion here is, one, as I mentioned earlier, you have to make sure you have an ongoing upskilling program for your workers. Next is make sure that your organization is highly digital and agile, because digitalization would be able to lessen the burden of work for the employees. Also, make sure that there is a regular listening and taking action for all the concerns and issues of the employees. And you need to create an intelligent organization. And when we say intelligent organization, there are proper policies and processes in place that would not hinder the productivity of the employee. Because if it hinders the productivity of the employee, if it hinders the comfort of the employee, then most likely the employee would find other companies who will not have that challenges. And work-life enhancement is also part of how you can differentiate and advance beyond the minimum. Think out of the box. What are the things, monetary, non-monetary, that you can provide to your employees that is really value adding? And understand that you have different demographics in your organization, different generations, the different genders, different wants and needs. But what are the common? What are the most frequent? What are the things that are highly critical for your employees? And then create programs that supports that. So those are the two-tier HR practices to overcome the Great Resignation as shared by AIHR, or the Academy to Innovate HR. And I think I would like to end this presentation by the discussion of, you know what, the Great Resignation is really more of a great realization for a lot of people. A realization that The traditional work setup is no longer working. And because of it's no longer working, from the Great Resignation to having the Great Realization, now people are going to the Great Migration. And when we say the Great Migration, it's migrating from companies who have the right policies, the right programs, the right people in place to support what employees needs the most. Now, this I would like to share to you a healthy organization maturity model. And the reason why I'm sharing this to you is because it will state the different levels of maturity of an organization na hinahanap ng mga employees. Level 1 is, are you making sure that employees are safe? Are you making sure that you take care of employees' well-being? Are you making sure that employees will have a healthy work environment? And level 4 is in terms of how healthy is your organization in making sure that your culture is focused on not only work, but the workers itself, the employees, in making sure that their leadership are actively supporting them. Based on surveys, these are the percentage of how people values a mature organization. And at the end of the day, when this Great Resignation continues to disrupt our economies and continues to change the landscape of work, understand that you as a people leader, that you as an HR person has the capacity to retain your best talents by making sure that you are attuned with the feelings and the needs of your employees, and also that you're able to find the best practices in the industry and be able to implement it in your organization. And lastly, you have the power to make your people stay because they feel that they're really part of something bigger than just work. They're part of a familiar, a family in their day-to-day lives. That's the rest of your presentation, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for being with me for more than almost 2 hours. And I would like to invite you to please follow me in LinkedIn. I know that you can no longer add me in LinkedIn, but you can follow me on LinkedIn. Please just go to LinkedIn, type Darwin Rivers. You will see me there and just follow me. You can also follow my FB page, Coach Darwin Rivers. And also, I'm also in Twitter. Just look for Coach Darwin Rivers. And of course, my beloved group, the Philippines HR Group. Just type, if you're not yet a member of the Philippines HR Group, please add us up. The Philippines HR Group is a community of more than 263,000 HR and HR aligned professionals in Facebook, and we also have a great growing community in LinkedIn. Just look for Philippines HR Group in LinkedIn also. And also every Sunday, if you want to learn more about HR best practices, about different solutions to employers and employees concerned, if you want to be updated about the different mandated government mandated benefits or laws in Dole, please, we have a weekly program at the Philippines HR Group. It's being aired at the Philippine HR Group via live streaming. It's called HR Cafe, Usapang Trabaho, Buwet Iba Pa. It's aired every Sunday at 3 p.m. You can also check the FB page of HR Cafe, Usapang Trabaho, Iba Pa, and you can watch there all the different episodes of the HR Cafe, where we invite thought leaders, seasoned HR practitioners, and sought after speakers to discuss about topics that are value adding to you. And it's all for free. Okay? So that's it. Again, my name is Coach Darwin Rivers, and thank you very much.
Coach Darwin, thank you so much. That was a lot, but guys, this is not yet the end of our program. We still have our Q&A portion. So probably Coach Darwin, we can accommodate some questions from our participants. Please type it in the chat box right now if you have questions, or click the raise hand button if you want to ask your questions live. Ayan po. So while we're waiting for the questions from our participants, please allow me to, of course, thank you, Coach Darwin, for the relevant, timely, and practical tips, realizations for the Great Resignation, how to combat it and retain the employees. Maraming salamat. So, any questions from our participants? Anyone?
Oh, well, mukhang wala silang tanong.
Mukhang walang tanong. It's starting with thank yous and appreciation.
So that I was able to properly discuss about the Great Resignation and the strategies behind that. But if you do have questions, please post it at the Philippines HR group, and we'll be happy to answer all of them.
Okay, so I think going once, going twice. Any questions from our participants? Okay, mukhang wala nga. So before I
thank you.
Thank you, Coach Darwin. But don't leave yet, because it is.
May question dito from Dandre Flavio.
Okay.
How to deal with? Sorry, I didn't see that.
Oh, okay. I have it here from Danreb. How to deal with your boss with saying people come and go. Just leave if they want to resign. Oh, okay.
Well, one, if you have a leader or a boss like that, you can do two things. One is follow his or her instruction, leave. Because it would not be smart for you to be in an organization with that kind of leader who has that kind of mindset. Second is, if you have the opportunity to influence your leader to see the value of retention instead of letting people attright, then you'll be able to provide him or her with the numbers on how costly it is to have employees go and also hire for new employees than retaining old employees. Then that's how you go through it. It's either you influence your employer, your leader, and make him realize that kind of mindset is impractical because it's costly. And second is, if you really have that kind of leader, then and you cannot influence him or her, then better get out of the kitchen and go to a better place.
Okay, so any other questions here? From Christina Velasco, Coach Darwin. Did you ever encounter people who resigned from their company only to realize later that they regret it, especially if their new company did not deliver to their expectations?
A lot of people think that the grass is greener in other organizations, not realizing that they have the power and the opportunity to make the grass in their organization greener and healthier. Again, look at, it's really mindset. How can you improve your work situation in your current organization? And there are many ways in doing that. If you come into a decision that you feel that there's no way or there's no opportunity for you to improve your situation, your organization, then that's the only time that you can say that you need to leave. But believe me, a lot of people that I've worked with realize after leaving the organization that they made the wrong choice because yung hinahanap nila, hinahanap nga nila yon monetary, pero the culture is affecting them negatively. So for employees out there, if you're deciding to leave your organization, if you're deciding to be part of the Great Resignation, understand that there's a lot of stake. And if you're not ready, if you're not confident, then do not resign. Because resignation should always be the last option for you. Okay?
Okay, Coach. Just to follow up question to that one. Just in case if you're HR and then gusto nilang bumalik sa organization nyo, would you still accept them?
Well, yes, as long as they left with good standings in the organization. Of course, every employee has kumbaga ano nga yan nauso nga yan, tinatawag nating boomerang employees. Ito yung mga previous employees na bumabalik sa company. We call it boomerang. And I think employees should be given a chance to really go back to where they feel is home. Diba?
Ayan, we still have two more, Coach Darwin. Can you give us examples on how leaders motivate his people not to leave the organization from Marisa Araya?
I think perfect example is, again, properly communicating to your team members. Have an open and transparent communication to them. And make sure also that you model, you'll be a real role model for a leader. Kasi if not, then if you will be someone who's very negative about certain situations in the organization, if you're the kind of leader that does not hear the concerns or the or just attend to the problems of your team members, then people will stop telling you their concerns and people will just decide to leave. So end of day, it's really being a mature leader. That's the reason why I ended my presentation earlier by differentiating what is a traditional or past thinking leader through a future ready and more mature kind of leader.
Yes. And the last question for today, how to ensure productivity in a work from home arrangement, from Raymond De Vera.
You know what? There are many tools available right now that would be able to help organizations measure the productivity of employees working at home. And you just have to make an investment. But on top of that, I think employers should also realize that they need to trust their employees. That employees would always have the best interest of the company at heart. Because if you have that mindset, then you will be able to trust, and you're able to trust your employees, then it will resonate to your employee and they will do their best not to destroy that particular trust and confidence bestowed to them. Pero kung ang mindset mo is you have a lot of doubts, hindi ka trusting sa mga employees mo, believe me, kahit na yung matitirang employee, gagawa ng paraan para talaga hindi mo sila i-trust. Kasi trust is a two-way street. Make sure that you understand and trust your employees and understand that they'll be able to do the right things for you. It's a culture building.
Okay, thank you so much, Coach Darwin. And in behalf of Ariva Academy, maraming salamat. And please allow me to, of course, give our certificate of appreciation to you. So please allow me to read the citation. Ariva Academy gratefully presents the certificate of appreciation to our speaker coach, Darwin Rivers, for generously sharing his professional expertise, invaluable knowledge, and wisdom to the delegates of the retention strategies amid the Great Resignation, how to retain your best performing employees, held on January 19 via Zoom platform, signed Mr. J.M. Matienzo, Chairman, and yours truly, everyone. A round of applause to our speaker, Coach Darwin Rivers. Thank you so much.
This morning, I know that a lot of you guys are either at work or at home, but you guys investing your time for learning. It's not only making me happy, but rest sure that it's adding knowledge to you also. And it will somehow, I hope that I made your time worth it today. Thank you. Maraming salamat.
Indeed, Sir Darwin. And of course, kudos to you and to the Philippine HR group for your advocacy, and rest assured that Ariva Academy is with you in your advocacy in empowering HR Filipinos here and today. So everyone, once again, a round of applause. And I think this deserves a group photo to everyone. So Coach Darwin, please do join us. Everyone, open your cameras, please, for our group photo. And of course, while you're doing that, we would like to remind you to please send us your feedback. The feedback link is already posted in the chat box. Please send us your comments, feedbacks, in order for us to improve our future e-learning sessions. Ayan. And once again, thank you for being with us today. The Kickstart webinar of Ariva Academy for 2022. Maraming salamat, and rest assured that we still have more free learning sessions for you. Ayan po. Let's call on Sir Jeff.
Okay, guys. Thank you, Miss Irish. So, guys, please enable your camera before we start for the group picture pa. Okay, let's wait for the others. May habol pa po ba? So, minsan lang to, guys. Join na po kayo.
Best smiles, please.
Yan. Okay. Get ready. I think we're good. And 3, 2, 1, smile. Okay, one more this time. Let's do a thumbs up po. Let's do a thumbs up, guys. With your beautiful smiles. Okay. And 3, 2, 1, smile. Okay, thank you. Back to you, Miss Irish.
Thank you, Mr. Jeff. And of course, thank you, Coach Randy. This ends our free e-learning session. And in behalf of Ariva Academy, maraming salamat for being with us today. Maraming salamat, and looking forward to have you once again on our learning sessions. This is Irish Malonde Samson. God bless.
thank the following win-win